Hi everyone, I want to welcome you back to my channel. It's Dr. Ratse and it is the voice of a doctor. For those of us who are joining for the first time, don't forget to go through the channel trailer to know what this channel is all about. Today I will be talking to you about cholesterol. I want you to listen to the end, leave your comments below. Don't forget to like and encourage your friends to watch, to subscribe. So please share my channel as well. I have missed you all. It's been a long time. I know I've been very busy, but thank you all for your good messages and your kind words. I'm very excited to share my topic today with you. Please stay tuned. Cholesterol are the waxy substances that are found in the blood. The liver makes them from the food that we eat. They are transported in our bloodstreams through different mode of transportations. So the vehicle that carries the cholesterol from place to place in our body are called the lipoproteins. So we have the low density lipoproteins and we have the high density lipoproteins. The lower the density, the more of the cholesterol that it carries, if I put it that way. So we have the low density lipoproteins that is taking this cholesterol that is made from things that we eat in the liver through our bloodstreams around the body. And then we have the high density lipoproteins that mops out the cholesterol excess that the body was not able to take in and sends it back to the liver for elimination. So you would see then that one is taken away from the blood and one is pumping it into the blood. So this gives you an idea of what we want to achieve. We want to achieve a lower level of the low density lipoproteins, so little cholesterol is going into the blood and to the rest of our body. And we want to have higher levels of high density lipoproteins, so that more cholesterol is taken from our body to be excreted by the liver. Another fatty substance that is in the body is the triglyceride. Now, this one is a bad cholesterol. You know, the low density lipoprotein is a bad cholesterol. The triglyceride is even more, it's even more bad. So we don't want that, and we don't want it to be high in the body. And again, the triglyceride, we get it from the blood and from the type of foods that we eat. So dairy products, certain types of meat, and other ways that we could get this triglyceride will be from substances like cooking oil, fats that we use to cook butter, and the frying and all sorts of foods that we eat. That's how we could get it. Because it's so waxy and it cannot break down, like you have emotion. If I use the word emotion, or you can easily wash it off, easily wash off and it goes off. But when you're using something like an oil paint, you can wash off oil paint easily, right? Imagine if you paint your wall with oil paint and you paint the other one with just the normal paints that we do, and you take soap and water in your sponge and wash these walls. The one with the oil paint would take some time for you to scrape it off, like you would do for the other type of paints. And that's exactly how cholesterol is. It goes into the lumen of our arteries. So let's assume that this is an artery and it has this lumen inside of it, right? What happens is that cholesterol goes into this lumen and it would be coating it, be putting layers upon layers upon layers. And before you know it, the lumen has gotten so narrow that it's looking like, if you can see the little dot there. So the whole big lumen that is supposed to carry blood, transport blood freely from one part to the other in our body, becomes so narrow, and blood is trying to fight through this tiny leftover space to get to where it has to get to. So basically, when that happens, a lot of things go down, and I'll start by saying that the pressure of the blood going through this normal patent lumen, it's the normal pressure that we need. So when it begins to narrow out, it's going to be working against so much resistance to get itself through the leftover space. When that happens, the pressure builds up. We're talking about hypertension here, right? So there's a higher pressure for the blood to go through. That's one. Another thing is that this blood is going to special places. Blood, I know that the heart supplies blood, but the muscles of the heart needs blood to survive. So when there's limited blood going to the heart muscles, that's when someone suffers a heart attack. Okay. Another thing is the brain needs blood, right? So when there's little, the blood is forcing itself, especially the big arteries here, the superior vena cava. There's a lot, the big artery there is where blood moves and supplies the brain. Now, if this lumen is occluded with fats, waxy substances, again, little blood is getting to the brain, and then someone is suffering an ischemic type of stroke. So these are the same thing happens to other organs. There could be an infarct to the intestines or to the spleen. And what that means is that there's a limited or a cut of blood supply to these vital organs. And when these things happen, we're suffering an ischemic effect, which for the brain would be a stroke, for the heart would be a heart attack, for the major other organs, they start to die and they do not function as they should function. So basically, this is one of the big things that happens. Another thing that happens is that when there is complete blockage, right, one can then have, blood is not water. So when there's resistance and it's stored somewhere, it could coagulate, could form cloth. And when that happens, a small emboli, that is a small fragment of the blood clots that releases, then goes, blocks somewhere, also causes things like stroke or, an embolism. So these are one of the ways that high cholesterol can affect our system. Another thing is that there are other risk factors that could come with high cholesterol. We're having things like diabetes. We're having things like peripheral vascular disease, right? So basically, high cholesterol is not a very good thing that we want to have or what we want to live with. And so I will be talking next on the factors that could lead to these high cholesterols. Please don't go away. Okay, so what are the things that we do or the things generally that will cause high cholesterol in our body or our bloodstreams, right? These things, they start, I've mentioned a few. I'm just going to summarize on it so that we're not confused. Number one is our diet, right? The things that we eat, the things we send into our body. The other thing is health. So, for example, you have an underactive thyroid. I believe I've spoken about thyroid earlier on. So the metabolic process or the rate in the body is dampened, is reduced when you have an underactive thyroid. That is one condition where you can have high cholesterol. Another condition is when one has a chronic kidney disease. Other things are things we do to ourselves apart from the food that we eat or the choices we make. Another one is things like a high alcohol misuse. So we drink beyond the recommended guidelines for a man and for a woman. We go beyond those levels. Alcohol generally does increase cholesterol buildup or production in the liver, and that goes on to the body. Other than that, I guess the only thing I haven't talked about is the inherited form of cholesterol. So for some people, It doesn't really matter what you eat. It doesn't really matter how much you want to be, you want to err on the side of healthy lifestyle, diet, and exercises. You still would have high cholesterol. For these people, you know, there is a thing, an inherited link here. So yes, some people have inherited it as a condition, and these people need to be on certain medications to get things corrected. So really, how do we cut down cholesterol? The first thing I would say is a healthy lifestyle, and this healthy lifestyle ranges from exercises, diet, and habits. So first of all, we want to cut down on these habits. I mentioned alcohol misuse. So cut down how much you drink, what we eat. Look at these things that you eat, and you know you want to be a bit more sensitive to your body. So you want to bring down those oily foods that are rich in fats, and you want to bring up the ones that would cut down, bring down fats. So I'm going to talk at length about the type of fats that are good for us to eat, and the ones that are really, really bad that we should not eat, we should try and cut down on. So hold on, we're going to talk about food in details. Another thing that we want to do is exercises, and you don't necessarily have to do a lot of exercises. Just having a brisk walk of 30 minutes in a day. It could be a whole 30-minute walk, or you want to split it and have 2 walks in a day, but something brisk. I'm not asking that you go and stroll and say hello to your neighbor and then stop by the road, or no, not dragging yourself down the road. Brisk walk that you sweat from your head to your toe, that that brings stirs your whole body up, from your brain to your thinking, to your heart, to your muscles, and as the muscles get a bit into the action, they are all squeezing and sending on circulations properly. Fat is burned, sweating is occurring, and that's what we do. When you do that, you're building up the good cholesterol, the high density lipoprotein, and you are reducing the low density lipoproteins. So that is very good. So if you could do that 30 minutes every day for it's a very, very encouraging exercise that we ask that if we can do that for us to do. Also, what more? So if you can walk somewhere, then there's no point driving. If you can, if you maybe your place of work is not far from the city center, so if you use a bus to city center, you could walk down to your place of work. I know Corona has been a bit of an obstacle lately, but think about it. Those places that you could go to without necessarily driving, we encourage that you walk, and this does go a long way. I know most of our neighborhoods are built with a corner shop around, in Britain you've got lots of corner shops around your homes. Also in places like North America, there's always a little shopping complex, like a plaza built around a residential center. So instead of driving to these places, try and walk to these places, cycle. You could use your bike, and I think we would achieve the same purpose. So I'm going to come back and I'll talk properly about diet. Don't go away. Types of diets that we should really focus on, the ones we should avoid, and then the ones we should adhere to. So I'm going to split them into the different types of fats. We've got the unsaturated fats, and we've got the saturated fats. The unsaturated fats are the things that you're looking at, a kind of polysaccharides, omega-3 fats, the monosaccharides. Examples are the plant fats like olive oil, avocado, corn oil, sunflower oil, walnut oil, and then omega-3 would be the oily fish. Yes, oily fish, but they contain polysaccharides, which helps to bring down the bad cholesterol. So the oily fish would include fish like herring, mackerel, sardine, pilchard, fresh tuna. These ones are good. And if you're not the fishy type, if you don't like fish, then grab one of the omega H3s. They are good to reduce the bad cholesterol and bring up the good cholesterol. Now, the types of fats that we should really avoid are those saturated ones, where we have things like butter, hard cheese, fatty meat, meat products that are very oily, bacon, cakes, cream. We're looking at a very good thing. Interestingly, coconut oil is on this list. The trans fats will be where we have our cakes, our biscuits, our cookies, our crackers. Even as dry as a cracker is, it does contain a trans fat. So you can read around these things, but these are the kind of diets, the ones that we should have and the ones that we should not have. Generally, we encourage that you err on the side of fruits and veg, nuts, if you're not allergic, and your exercises, and you will be fine. Oftentimes we encourage you to have a test. Test yourself and see, because you could be as skinny as I am and you might still be having a very high cholesterol. Remember, I said that some people's one is inherited. So I guess if you're over the age of 40, you should try and get your NHS check, or see your doctor if you're not with the NHS National Health Services setting. If you're anywhere else, try and get a regular checkup and see, what your cholesterol level is. It's always good to stay healthy. In the long run, if all of these conservative measures haven't helped to bring down one's cholesterol levels, and then talk to your doctor about starting one of the statins. They're pretty well tolerated. For some people who are very sensitive to medication and would react, have side effects. The truth is, if you try one, it doesn't suit you, you could try another one. There are quite a few of them out there. And until you get something that you are comfortable with, because really having a high level of cholesterol in our bloodstream is not where we want to be. So please listen to these messages, ask your questions, or share your ideas and opinions.